And welcome to Ask Doc Live. This is Rebecca Kozak coming to you on behalf of myself and my co-host John T. McCollier and Ruth Ellen Sanchez. We just welcome you. We are privileged to be able to bring to you an opportunity to ask Dr. Wallach your questions live and get from the man himself, one of the co-founders of epigenetics, the most sciences that I've ever come across that I appreciate the most is the conditions that my ancestors before me suffered. I do not have to, and I can do it through nutrition. So I just want to welcome everybody and let you know that the content of this program is to provide nutritional education information only. This program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. The FDA does require us to let you know that our products are not meant to treat, prevent, diagnose, or cure any diseases, and any testimonial shared on this program is real-life results using the products mentioned and recommended by Dr. Joel Wallach. As empowered individuals, you have options available, and we are honored to have one of the founding fathers of epigenetics here to guide us with the best options to attain or maintain optimal health. Welcome, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you, John T. and all the team. Appreciate you and appreciate all our visitors this morning. And, you know, the world is still in trouble. The COVID's going up. We have 33 states in the United States in which the numbers are spiking. We have 13 states which are in real trouble. And it's because they haven't done the right thing yet. We do require nutrients to give to our immune system. Our immune system doesn't run on a vacuum. It requires 90 essential nutrients to make white blood cells, which is the cavalry and the Marines that go through the bloodstream to kill and eat the viruses. Our immune system also makes stem cells that make antibodies that goes through the bloodstream to kill the viruses. Our bone marrow, which is the main part of our immune system, also makes red blood cells and platelets, which are part of the defense, because actually the biggest cause of death from COVID is not a respiratory viral infection, but hemorrhaging. And so if you're not making enough red blood cells, you're not making enough platelets, just nicking yourself shaving, you could bleed to death kind of thing, okay? And so when you look at just the number in the world of COVID going up is going up at about 500,000 a day. 2 days ago, we had 37 million people on Earth with COVID infections. Today we got 39 million, okay, just in 2 days. In the United States, let's see, 2 days ago we had 7 million, almost 8 million infections and 215,000 deaths. That was 2 days ago. And today we have, let's see here, just short of 8 million infections. So the infections have gone up by 180,000 in the United States, and the number of deaths have gone up 2,000, okay? So percentage-wise, we're about the same as the world. We have 328 million, the world has 7.8 billion. And then let's look at two very interesting countries that are going to give us a clue what's going on here. Why it is we need the 90 essential nutrients. Why it is we need to give up gluten, okay? Everybody knows gluten damages your intestines, and even if you're supplementing, if you're eating gluten, those villi go away and you lose 95% of your absorption. You can't give the nutrients to your immune system. That's a problem. So let's look at a country that's 66 million people. It's very respectable. Thailand, a small, sort of medium-sized Asian country, Thailand, 66 million. Yesterday, they had 3,600 infections and 59 deaths. Okay, that's like 1/100th of what we have, okay? And then you look at the other end, let's look at California. Let's just look at the state of California with 39 million people, which is about half of what Thailand has, 66 million. Okay, let's look at California, our state of California with 39 million, about half of Thailand. We have 855,000, almost a million people with infections. They have 3,000. We have a million, okay, and we're about half their population. And they had 59 deaths, and we had 16,600 deaths in California. Okay, then another kind of look at that sort of thing. Let's look at China with 1.4 billion people have 90,000 infections and 4,000 deaths. And then you look at, let's look at Canada. Where's Canada? Okay, yeah, let's look at Canada with 37 million compared to 1.4 billion in China, 37 million in Canada, our northern neighbor. Remember, China has 90,000 deaths and 4,700 deaths and 90,000 infections. Canada with 37 million, okay, instead of 1.4 billion, has 189,000 infections, about double, okay, almost, yeah, double what China has, and deaths are double, 9,664. Well, that's because Canada lives on wheat. That's their main export product is wheat. They live on wheat. They drink beer that's made from wheat. They drink whiskey that's made from wheat, and breakfast wheat, spaghetti wheat, mustacholi wheat, bread, pasta, okay? Whereas China is all rice and sweet potatoes. So if your villi are good, you're able to absorb nutrients. That's why a 3-year-old, Rebecca, that's why a 3-year-old, when they get the COVID, their temperature goes up about a half a degree. You can't even class that as a fever, okay? Goes up from 98.6 to 99.4 or something like that. And you raise your temperature more exercising than that, right? And then they get 3 or 4 days of mild cold-like symptoms, and it's over with for a 3-year-old. But if you're 63, 73, 83, when you get the COVID and you have these pre-existing conditions, people say, well, they're 75 years old, they're going to have that kind of stuff. No, they're all nutritional deficiency disease. We're talking about osteoporosis, we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about arthritis, we're talking about obesity, we're talking about heart disease, high blood pressure, and elevated triglycerides, which is a liver problem, which we're going to get to in a second, okay? And when you have these pre-existing condition that tells you that your bone marrow, which is your immune system, is not getting the nutrients it needs, because these are all nutritional deficiencies. And I'll give my favorite statistic is Herman Cain, who was the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, 74 years old. He had 8 pre-existing conditions, which the doctors, this guy's a billionaire, the doctors are treating the symptoms of these 7 pre-existing diseases, all of which you can get rid of in 90 days just by supplementing properly and getting off of gluten. Okay, so to make a long story short, he was diagnosed with COVID in the last day of June of this year. Okay, he's got 8 pre-existing conditions, including colon problems, gluten alert, right? He's got diabetes, obesity, and arthritis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he's 74 years old. They put him on the top stuff that Trump got as far as killing viruses intravenously. They give him oxygen. And by the 29th of July, not even a month later, he's dead. Because his white blood cells didn't participate, his antibodies didn't participate. And when we did the autopsy on him, okay, 3 days later, he didn't die from a viral infection of the lungs. He hemorrhaged to death. Because his bone marrow is dead, he couldn't make platelets to keep him from bleeding to death. So there you are. So I urge you. Of course, we have CDs coming out. We have books coming out. We do have a book called Hell's Kitchen. It's the whole book is on obesity and diabetes. I urge you to get that. We have the book Immortality. Tells you why the top 10 longevity cultures live 25 to 50 years longer than we do. We have the book Epigenetics. Of course, we have the 2 CD set, which is an interview of Bruce Lipton and myself, the 2 founders of the science of epigenetics. That's coming out here. It should be maybe even this week. Okay, yet, although there's only a couple of days left in this week, certainly next week. And this is all called the metabolic syndrome. And doctors just treat it with cortisone and prednisone and antibiotics and things like that, but they never get to the basic root cause, which is getting off of gluten and taking the 90 essential nutrients. Well, longevity also has colloidal silver, which was the antibiotic of the day for thousands of years until 1938 when they had penicillin come along. And we have, of course, the hand sanitizers in big bottles, medium-sized bottles, and little carry-on in your purse bottles. Our hand sanitizer. And then we have Killer Biotic. I take 3 of those 3 times a day, okay? And of course, I avoid all the bad foods, and I take all my 90 essential nutrients and so forth. I've been doing it for 72 years, Rebecca. I've been doing it for 72 years. I'm 81 years old. Most people think I'm in my 50s. Okay, don't have gray hair, don't have any wrinkles, don't have any health problems of any kind. I have had injuries because I, in construction sites and things like that. But other than injuries, none of these pre-existing conditions. Everybody can do that. It's not a genetic thing, it's a nutritional thing. All right, did you have any questions on that before we go to the liver?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. You've been doing this for 72 years, and
That's
you look
correct.
great, and you're not suffering like I was 5 years ago. But the best news about it is it's not too late. Not too late.
I always tell people, Rebecca, give me 90 days. I get people who are on dialysis 6 days a week. They haven't peed, they haven't urinated in 10 years. They've been on dialysis for 25 years, same person. Well, I get them on my program for that. And in 2 weeks' time, they're urinating. They drop the dialysis from 6 days a week to 3 days a week. And then in 2 more weeks, no more dialysis. They're perfectly normal. I get people who are brittle diabetics for 30 years. They've gone blind. They've had their feet amputated. And in 30 days, they're an ex-diabetic. Their vision comes back. I can't regrow their feet, but I can get their vision to come back. So don't wait. Age is not the cause of these things. It's nutritional deficiencies. And of course, we do have another CD coming out. It's called the red warning lights. When you have the red warning light come on your car, you pull over and find out, is my fan belt still good? Do I have water and coolant in my radiator? How many quarts of oil do I have? And say, well, when I get home, I'm going to throw some dirt from Texas in there. And, there's bound to be some oil in it. Come on, there's dirt from Texas. Well, that's like a doctor saying, oh, just eat well, you get everything you need. That doctor is stupid and a criminal and should go to jail for being a serial killer. Because when you tell people you can get everything you need just from eating well, they don't appreciate that nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate blystrom. They occur in veins like gold and silver and coal and oil. And you can eat the same recipe as somebody in New York and you're in California, or you're in Arizona, or you're in Texas, or you're in Indiana, and have the same exact recipe, and you'll die of nutritional deficiencies because the carrots in Indiana don't have the same minerals in it that the carrots in New York have. Okay, and so that's an idiotic thing. Now, before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this is good for the liver now. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, on the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, Thomas Edison and his chief technician, Jonathan Leibs, pulled the switch on the first commercial electric generating plant. And in 10 years' time, we had 60 new genetic diseases, quote, genetic, unquote, diseases.
In 10 years.
Now they weren't new genetic diseases, but that's what doctors called them because they didn't know what they were. They were nutritional deficiency disease nobody had ever seen before. Now, why didn't we have them before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th in New York City? Well, that's because prior to that, everybody's putting wood ashes from their wood stove in their fireplaces into their gardens. Now, wood ashes are not ash and carbon. Wood ashes are 99% the minerals that the trees sucked up out of the ground. You burn the wood for fuel, you put the minerals in the garden. So everybody's pretty much getting the maximum amount of minerals they can get in their area by putting their wood ashes in the garden. Well, when they gave that up, they should have gone to supplementation to make up the difference, and they didn't do that. And that's why we popped up with all these other diseases they'd never seen before. Okay.
Which is why we need your message to be shared, Dr. Wallach.
Yeah, well, that's why we have the book Epigenetics. We have the book Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Linda Tyler and I are putting together a book. It's called The Greatest Stories Ever Told. I actually have a CD coming out with it. These are things where people are in comas for 8 years. We put our 90 essential nutrients in their G tube, and in 3 days' time, they wake up and go back to work. After 8 years of being in a coma, just 3 days on our stuff going in their G tube, they wake up and go back to work. Okay, and people are blind. Okay, they're blind for 6, 8, 10 years. And then just 90 days on our program, they get their vision back 100%. And of course, the eye doctors wouldn't believe that. So they made me bets, and they had to pay for all the supplements for those patients. And they had to make me a CD called Seeing is Believing to apologize in public for calling me a liar. Yeah. And they had to buy me a great bottle of red wine from France and take me out to Ruth Chris's Steakhouse. So they paid for being stupid.
So Dr. Wallach, let's go back to liver.
Okay. Well, the liver is a very active organ. It does many, many things. It detoxifies things in our blood. It helps by supporting our immune system with antibodies. It also stores nutrients. It stores nutrients for, maybe 3 months from now, you're not going to get them in your food, so it releases them as you need them, right? Your liver is an enormously important organ, but it does require the 90 essential nutrients. So there's 2 things you need to do to make sure your liver is happy. And I'll tell you some great liver stories. But anyway, to make your liver happy, you have to give up all the bad foods so you can maximize absorption of the 90 essential nutrients. No fried foods. When you have a fried food, you're getting oxidation products. You're getting trans fats, heterocyclamines, acrylamides. You're heating up those oils, making terrible chemicals, which destroy your liver and cause you to get cirrhosis of the liver, even if you're not drinking alcohol. And then you have to appreciate that alcohol can be bad if you abuse that. Now, a glass of wine once a day for an adult weighs over 100 pounds, no problem. Even Jesus, so when he wanted to impress people, when he converted water into something, did he convert it into milk or orange juice or Coca-Cola? No, he converted it into
Fine
red
wine.
wine. There you go. And so that's why so many people came to listen to him, because in the beginning, they didn't believe he was the Son of God. They just went there to get the free wine. And Jesus is a smart kind of guy, okay, so anyway. And so the liver, again, has all these special cells that the blood cells run through, and these special cells suck the poison, like lead and mercury and uranium and things like that, and toxic poisons and sprays out of your blood and tries to save the rest of your body. So if you are very, very good about avoiding the bad stuff, you're protecting your liver. You take the 90 essential nutrients, you're supporting the liver's functions and protecting it. And you're also, by doing a hair analysis, say once a year, go to chapter 10, 11 of the book, Rare Earths and Cures. It tells you how to collect the hair, how to package it, where to ship it to. 2 weeks later, you get a list of bars and all the minerals, good and bad. And the good list, if all those bars are below the bottom line, you're not absorbing. Somehow you're getting gluten, all your villi are gone. Okay, so you better find it and get rid of it. Okay, and then there's a second list which shows what poisonous and toxic metals you have. Okay, that all comes with this results of the hair analysis. And sometimes you'll be absorbing pretty fair, but then some of your minerals are good, some are okay where they're supposed to be. Every once in a while you get maybe calcium that's 3 times higher than it should be, and doctors say, oh, no calcium, no dairy products, stay away from calcium. That doctor should be put in jail. And they should keep calcium away from them. No calcium for that doctor, okay? But the reason why the calcium's so high is not because you're eating too much calcium. Your parathyroid glands are pulling calcium out of your bones because you're calcium deficient, and they're overworking, and so the calcium levels are going up. Okay, so you start supplementing with calcium, the calcium in your hair analysis will come right back down. The doctors really have no idea. And I'll give you one more statistic here, and this has to do with the liver. Okay, now, your doctor, well, let me back up. Let's go to Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, Baltimore, Maryland, very famous worldwide. Everybody respects Johns Hopkins. I respect Johns Hopkins. They came out about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago with a study they started in 2013. So essentially it's a 7-year-old study. They looked at the top 8 causes of death in American hospitals each year. Number 1 was heart disease. Number 2 is cancer. Did they have heart disease and cancer and they go to the hospital and walk in the door and die? No. They were killed either by infections from surgeries or bad environment in the room, or the chemotherapy and radiation, all kinds of stuff killed them. So was it the treatments of the cancer and the heart disease that killed them, or was it the heart disease and cancer? I think it was the treatments in the hospital. But number 3 was my favorite, Rebecca. Number 3 was my favorite. Number 3, now remember, this is Johns Hopkins, not me. I'm just reporting what they published in medical journals a couple of weeks ago, 7-year study. So the number 3 cause of death in American hospitals annually each year is medical errors. They said medical errors each year in American hospitals, doctors kill, they use the kill word, doctors kill 251,000 to 440,000 patients. Now, Rebecca, you tell me how many industries, how many businesses can stay in business if they kill 251,000 to 440,000 of their customers each year in their workplace? None. So why is it the medical profession gets away with this? Because they have an intimate relationship literally and figuratively, with the people who are in the government, our politicians. Okay, you don't report what I do, and I won't report what you do. Well, you know, everything's wonderful, kind of thing. I'll get you plenty of money for, you know, all your projects. We'll make sure insurance pays you. Okay, and so then the doctors say, oh, you do all that? We won't tell you're in here because you're taking drugs, or we won't tell that you're, you know, you're an alcoholic and that kind of stuff. Okay. And I think you know, I've made my point on the gluten thing. Your liver, I've taken people, Rebecca, who were ready for a liver transplant. Their liver had, you know, shrunk down to about 1/10 its normal size. I mean, everything is going wrong. Their blood tests, they can't find one normal thing in there, and they were lined up for a liver transplant. And I get them off all the bad foods, deal with the toxic stuff in their diet, and get them on the 90 essential nutrients. And in 90 days, their liver regrew back to a normal liver. I do this all the time. The liver has an enormous capacity to maintain and heal itself, but it requires the 90 essential nutrients. And this is where people go wrong. It's like, my doctor said I can get everything I need just by eating well. That's just like saying, well, I'm not going to put oil. I mean, I love my Jaguar. I do anything. I'll pay $20 a quart for oil. And your mechanic says, don't waste your money on oil for your Jaguar. No, 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 no. Just put dirt from Texas or Oklahoma, and there's bound to be some oil in it. An insane person who's drunk wouldn't do that to their car. But when a doctor says just eat well, you get everything you need. Oh, my doctor said I can get everything I need by eating well, so shove your vitamins. Okay. I also have a business in which I sell coffins. Would you like to look at them? Are on sale right now.
You know, it's really unfortunate. In that Lancet article, just attests to how little doctors actually are trained on nutrition.
Well, yeah. Well, that came out just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
One in Lancet, okay, which is the big medical journals like JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association to England. Lancet is the word for their scalpel, Lancet. And they came out just a couple of days ago and said that all the medical schools in the world have failed humanity and failed the medical students, because all they do is teach them how to be pill pushers, is the word. I'm quoting them now. And they put it in quotes. They teach their medical students to be pill pushers and to relieve the symptoms. And the person's happy. Oh my God, I had knee pain for years. I mean, I couldn't walk. Aspirin wouldn't help, and the doctor gave me prednisone shots every week. I just love my doctor. Well, in 2 years' time, now he gets a $50,000 knee replacement in both knees. That's $100,000. Okay, but he made you happy, so you're going to be loyal to him. Okay, well, if he'd have put you on the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and the extra glucogel and the extra vitamin D3 and the extra MSM, and you'd regrow your cartilage in your knees and your tendons and ligaments and connective tissue, and no problem.
My doctor put me on that, and I can now run up and down the stairs and then skip steps going up those stairs. So wow. I love my doctor. Thank you, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. But yeah, the liver heals very quickly. And I just, you know, I get a hair analysis myself every year, once a year, because I'm all over the place. Now, it's been 6 months since I've flown anywhere because of this COVID thing, right? But historically to that, for 35 years, I'm flying 6, 8, 10 times a month. I'm in different environments. I'm all over the place. And so, man, I'm taking my hair analysis. I'm equally as interested in the toxic chart as I was anything missing. Maybe I'm getting accidentally glutened or something like that. And so I really have a good track record of you know, monitoring my nutrition, my absorption, toxic metal loads, and so forth. And so again, I urge people to cover, social distance. Now, those things will not get rid of the COVID. As you see, the number, so everybody's happy because the curve flattens out. And they say, okay, the curve's flattening out. Everybody takes their mask off, they run around, hug each other, and go to dances. And 2 weeks later, the death rate goes up, the infection rate goes up, and you got to get your mask back on and cover again and all this stuff and be socially distancing. And when they come out with the vaccine finally in the middle of next year, it's not going to be any different. because we have a pandemic every 6 to 10 years. This goes back a million years. Every 6 to 10 years, we get a pandemic. Okay. And of course, for the first 10,000 years, everybody in the world, all the healers, whether they're herbalists or whatever, all the healers for 10,000 years knew that the cause of the spring fever every year was evil spirits. It wasn't until 1895 in India, where there's an English medical student, 18 years old, by the name of Ronald Ross. He noticed in the red blood cells he would take from people who had the spring fever, there was a black dot in their red blood cells. There was not a black dot in the red blood cells of everybody who didn't have it. Remember, that's just when the microscope came out. Nobody had ever seen those black dots before. And he surmised they were probably a parasite. And so he grabbed a bunch of mosquitoes that were sitting on some of these people with the fever, 8 of them. He just got 8 of these mosquitoes, smashed them, put them under the microscope, and he saw the red blood cells from these people in these mosquito stomachs and had the red dot on them. So he said, okay, these mosquitoes must be transmitting this. Now, this is 18-year-old with his microscope, 1895, and he publishes it in a British medical newsletter, 1895. Goes around the world. So everybody knows, okay, there's probably parasites here. So what do we do about it? They came up with mosquito netting, and they reduced it a little bit. What do you do during the day at work, right? And so it turns out in 1939, there was another medical student by the name of Paul Mueller from Switzerland. And Paul Mueller from Switzerland, his sort of hobby on the side was chemistry. And so he came up with an insecticide, which we call DDT, and he sprayed the swamps because he had read Ronald Ross's newsletter on perhaps it was a parasite transmitted by mosquitoes. So he came out with DDT, started spraying the swamps. In 6 months' time, no more malaria. You don't hear anything about malaria anymore. Not because we're treating people for malaria, we're spraying the swamps and killing the mosquitoes. Okay.
Yeah, such a simple thing that took so long to figure out.
Yeah, well, they needed the technology. I mean, how many cavemen could, eyeball a red blood cell at 7 microns? They couldn't do it. And so they just knew because it came every year, and the only thing they knew was evil spirits, so that's what they blamed it on. Well, the same thing here. This is why the epigenetics book is so important. This is why the book and the CD, Immortality, is so important. We look at the top 10 longevity cultures on Earth. We only rank 41st in the world when it comes to longevity, yet we spend more money for healthcare than all the nations of the world combined, Rebecca. Okay, we only rank 41st. There's 40 other countries whose peoples live longer than we do. We live being average about 75, okay, point something or other. They live to be 160, 178, 200, and this is documented. And I save their annual reports on their longevity, and we have this stuff in the book and the CD, Immortality, okay? And then, of course, Immortality, we have a 2 CD set coming out either this week or next week. And then another one I'm very happy about is the book and the CD with Ms. Linda Tyler. She came up with the idea because we've worked together for so long, and she deals primarily with young people, right, out of the church. And so she came up with the greatest stories ever told. Now, the greatest story ever told, of course, is the Bible. But the greatest stories ever told are the 600 cases we're going to share in this book and the CD. And the CD is already being duplicated as we speak. I mean, I was breathless when we went back through the CDs and all my lectures and everything and picked out these stories of people who, were dying. And, just like I said, people were on dialysis for 25 years. They hadn't peed in 10 years, that kind of stuff. People who were in comas for 8 years and being fed through their G2 and wake up in 3 days, go back to work. Those are the kind of things that are going to be in this book and in the CD set, okay, called The Greatest Stories Ever Told.
And it's not like a handful or a dozen. 600.
No.
600.
Well, no, we have thousands, but it's going to be.
You're condensing them. Yeah, we're picking the greatest ones.
Yeah, we're going to pick the most spectacular ones, of course.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Dr. Wallach, I just, it's amazing how 72 years of being on supplementation has added so much vitality to yourself, to your mind, just people are just amazed at how sharp and on the spot you are. And I am as well. So
yes, well, you look like you're 18.
thank you. So I am aging backwards. I look younger now at 50 than I did when I was at 30.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, this
I love
program, yeah, well, that's why the book Epigenetics and Immortality are so important. And everybody can do their own physicals, Rebecca, for $1.50. You can go to a pharmacy without a prescription. You get the test strips for your blood. You can make your own diagnosis of diabetes for $1.50. You don't need to go to a doctor and spend $100 for an office visit and $200 for the laboratory. And you don't have any risk of him killing you. You know, when you have all these symptoms, the doctor says, you know, you got a lot going on here. Why don't we put you in the hospital for a week? Your insurance will pay for it. And we'll run a bunch of tests so we know what to do. No, say no, no, no. Well, why don't you go to the hospital for a week, doc, and you go in there for a week. Let's see if you come out alive. You never, the only time you go to a hospital is when you're unconscious, you're bleeding internally because you've been run over by a semi-truck, and your only chance is to stop the bleeding, we got to open you up. But other than that, you know, you have pain, and you're not hemorrhaging. Okay, let's get some test strips for my urine, see what my kidneys are doing. Let's get some test strips for my blood. Let's see what my blood sugar is doing. Okay, and let's get one of those instruments so I can do my own blood pressure. I can take my own temperature. I can weigh myself. I can take my own pulse. I can do my hair analysis. You're going to do a better physical for, you know, $1.50 plus the hair analysis than your doctor will give you for $300. And if you don't know, you have to appreciate, we deal with literally millions of people every month all over the world. We're in 50 countries. We're picking up new countries all the time. Start doing Zooms like this with Taiwan. September 3rd it'll be every week, so I'm kind of happy about that. And because we're doing so many good things over there in Taiwan, very excited about that. And also Australia and also New Zealand and so on. And it's one of those things where if you get the book set, it's called the quartet of books. It used to be called the trilogy books. Now it's the quartet of books. Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, Passport to Aromatherapy, and it's all in your head. That's the newest one. It's all in your head. 25 different diseases you get when you get osteoporosis of the skull. When you get osteoporosis of the skull, you can get 25 different diseases because those 12 pairs of cranial nerves come out. And if they get squeezed by your skull when you have osteoporosis, because your bones get bigger when you have osteoporosis, not from minerals, but from more connective tissue, trying to make up the difference in lack of strength and everything. And you can also get paralysis in your arms, and you get, quote, carpal tunnel syndrome, unquote, and you get pain in your neck and all that kind of stuff. And you get AFib, atrial fibrillation, your heart goes crazy. And you know that story of Elijah Cummings, the congressman from Baltimore, Maryland. So since we probably have some new listeners, I'm going to share that question also. Elijah Cummings had been a congressman in Baltimore, Maryland for, gosh, I don't know, 35 years. He's 68 years old. And he had some pre-existing conditions, including obesity. He was about 50 pounds overweight, 68 years old. Too many political parties, I guess. And anyway, he got atrial fibrillation. His heart's going crazy all over the place. And he goes to Johns Hopkins, Baltimore, Maryland, goes to Johns Hopkins. They say, oh, listen, you're going to get a stroke here. We got to deal with this atrial fibrillation. We need to do an ablation. We're going to there's a portion of your heart muscle that's, you know, going crazy. So we're going to kill that portion. And when that ablation, it's a very common procedure. We do it all the time. You'll be fine. You won't have a stroke. So he says, well, why not? So he goes to Johns Hopkins. They anesthetize him, right? These are the instructors in the surgery thing at Johns Hopkins Hospital and Medical School. They open up his chest. They take a hot soldering iron and touch his heart. They kill him instantly. They just barely touched him and they killed him. Okay, now if he'd have come to us in 90 days, he'd be perfectly normal. I reverse AFib thousands of times a year because it could be caused by one or the other or both things. One is osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, which controls the rate and rhythm of the heart. But also, when you have degenerative disc disease, the vertebrae get closer together in your neck and your back. And the ones in your neck and your upper back control the rate and rhythm of your heart, those spinal nerves. So you take You know, if finances are a problem, I'd go with 2 healthy bone and joint packs. I'd get the MSM, vitamin D3, and I would throw in immortalium to help regrow stuff. I would also take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. Get blood flowing through blocked arteries and support healthy blood pressure. And usually within 60, 90 days, everything's fine. Well, in this case, probably Elijah Cummings would have, you know, seen results within 2 weeks, and within 4 or 6 weeks have been, you know, if he followed my procedures, say, Congressman Cummings, why don't you please give me 90 days before you submit to surgery? But he didn't do that. And he knew of me because I go up there and lecture, you know, in Baltimore, Maryland all the time. And so it's one of those things, he knew me and I knew him. It was really sad that, you know, a friend got killed by a doctor because he trusted that medical school. And they gave him an ablation and it killed him instantly.
Yeah, that's definitely a sad deal. And fortunately, you know, we have the opportunity to be able to share the message with other people.
Mhm.
And, you know, just the benefits of supplementation, quality supplementation, not cherry picking this and trying to find the cheapest route, but actually getting quality supplementation that the body can absorb. Makes
Well,
a
on that,
huge difference.
yeah, on that subject, you know, they advertise on TV different vitamin brands, vitamin mineral brands. They say, we offer complete nutrition, 27 nutrients. Well, that's not even a third of the 90.
No.
For their 27 nutrients, not even a third of the 90. And most of them are vitamins and amino acids. They don't give, I mean, the 27 are not all, minerals. Minerals make up 2/3 of the 90. There's 60 minerals, and so they're not even close with their 27. So don't even go there.
Right. That's right. Well, again, we just want to thank everybody for joining us on the Ask Doc Live show. You can go to AskDocLive.com and find all of the products that Dr. Wallach is going to be mentioning as we're going through people's different situations. And he is then providing what he recommends for them to be able to overcome. And of course, you want 90 days. You didn't get this way overnight.
Mhm.
You got to give it 90 days and give the body the opportunity to utilize the supplementation. So Dr. Wallach, and one of the first things I want to do is Carol wrote in and she says, so happy to give you an update. I'm a 5'7" woman, 54 years old. I was 250 pounds, but I'm down to 205 and only 45 more to go.
It's
Yep.
very good.
She said, after going gluten-free and giving up the oils and the nitrates, my general checkup showed the blood chemistry to be very good. Cholesterol, the HDL, LDL, triglycerides were all within spec, and my blood pressure was perfect. Have been using the Tangy Tangerine, EFA, Osteo, Ocean's Gold supplementation for several months, and recently used the digestive enzymes and selenium. And she's getting ready to order the Rev and the Sweeties. She says that she's still on her thyroid meds, but she's excited with the progress she's made so far.
Okay, now is she on our keto diet? And she can lose another 50 pounds.
Yeah, she
quickly.
doesn't mention being on the keto diet, just removing all those things and getting the nutrients on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
has helped her lose all this weight.
45 pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And so, yeah, she threw in even one meal a day of a keto bar or a keto shake. She could lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. So she'd be right down where she needs to be within a month.
Absolutely. So now she is taking the, the Ocean's Gold,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got the selenium and the 90, and she is wanting to get off her thyroid medications. Is
okay,
that
then it's possible. It's possible, as long as she still has her thyroid gland, right?
Right.
And, she needs to also give up cruciferous vegetables in addition to the fried foods and the processed meats and the oils and the glutens and the sugar. She needs to give up cruciferous vegetables, which put pressure on the thyroid. We're talking about cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, those kind of things have to go. And they take a lot of pressure, or they put a lot of pressure on the thyroid. So when you take them away, the thyroid is happier. And so it takes less time to recover.
And is that something she'll have to take away forever?
Well, she can come back with it maybe like once a week, have a little bit of cabbage, and then the next week have a little bit of kale, but not the cabbage and the kale. You know, you got to
Okay.
keep that stuff down. It's kind of like gluten. Can you ever go back to gluten? No, never. Don't even eat one crouton out of a salad. If you get a salad and there's one crouton in there, you say, okay, look, I'm going to hold this salad here because I don't want you to just take this to the back room and pluck the crouton out of here. There's probably dust from this crouton in my salad. It's going to contaminate me with gluten. And you may want to bring the chef out here, okay, so I can talk to him, because I'm going to keep sending him back if I see one little crumb from a crouton in there. You can't just go be pulling all the croutons out of the salad. You got to make a new salad for me. And so, you know, it's your life. It's your liver. It's your heart. It's your brain. It's your kidneys. It's your bones. It's your lungs. And if you don't take care of them, you're going to give up 30 to 50 healthful years of your life. Why would you do that when you have people you love, you want to be around for another 30, 40, 50 years? You're going to give it up because some clown is, you know, fudging underneath the table and giving you gluten?
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. Well, we have a number of people, Dr. Wallach, with their hands up. So let's go ahead and get started with them. First, I would like to ask Rob W. to unmute. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Dr. Wallach, can you hear me?
Hello, Rob. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Dr. Wallach, I had an X-ray done by my chiropractor. He said
Okay, now
that.
stop. You might back off just a couple inches. You're blasting me with, okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
try that.
Okay, so I had an X-ray done by my chiropractor, and he indicated that the disc between the C6 and C5 have deteriorated or degenerated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, is there a way of regenerating the disc?
Yeah, yes. Now, have you shrunk any? Have you measured and you shrunk a ½ inch or 2 inches?
They didn't measure it, but looking at the X-ray, that one disc does look compressed or very short compared to the other ones.
Okay. Do you have any symptoms in your shoulders, your arms, your hands? Any tingling, numbness, any pain?
Mostly just sore neck at where the neck and shoulder meet.
Okay.
That's about it.
Then, yeah. Well, your skull can be squeezing the spinal cord there, okay? Or you could have disc problems in your neck, which the vertebrae get closer together and smash the nerves. There's all kinds of things going on here. What is your total weight, your body weight?
About 157 pounds.
Okay. And do you have any other issues, any high blood pressure or diabetes?
No, I don't have any other issue other than some skin psoriasis on my thigh, which leads to the second question. The naturopath said that I might have mold in my gut.
Okay. Well, you don't have mold, but you got gluten.
Okay.
Okay. You got to give up gluten. You're an Asian, right? What's your country of origin?
Yep, Asian. I eat mostly brown rice.
No, what's your country of origin?
Oh, my parents are from China, but I was born in Canada.
Okay. Okay. So, ni hao. Okay. Okay. Now, you need to eat like an Asian. You need to give up all Western foods, okay? Absolutely no wheat, barley, rye, and oats in any form. If you're going to drink beer, it's got to be Japanese or Chinese beer made from rice, okay? You can drink the classic vodka because that's made from potatoes, okay? You can drink wine because that's made from grapes and berries, right? But you cannot have European and American beers because they're made from wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Then you want to eat like an Asian. You want to eat rice and sweet potatoes and butter and that kind of stuff and vegetables. Absolutely no wheat, barley, rye, oats of any kind. And then at 157 pounds, because of your issues, I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs. 2 healthy brain and heart packs. That's the biggest hammer we have in the toolbox. I want you to take 3 of those twice a day. Oh, excuse me, a full dose twice a day. Full dose twice a day. Okay, the healthy brain and heart pack. Then I also want you to get our MSM. That's going to help you regrow the disc between the vertebrae, cartilage, ligaments, tendon, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix. I want you to take 9 a day, 3 with each meal. That'll be 2 bottles a month. And you'll be able to see in 30, 60, 90 days that disc will be growing back and pushing the vertebrae apart. The pain goes away. Then I want you also to take vitamin D3. I want you to take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. Okay. Then also, because you're taking the healthy brain and heart pack, 2 of those a month, I want you to get 2 bottles of our glucogel. It's either going to be the collagen, the glucogel, which is made from beef skin, and or you can take the collagen peptides, which is made from fish, poultry, sheep, and beef. I take both, the collagen peptides and the glucogel, but you need 3 servings a day of that. So it'd be 3 capsules or 3 to 5 capsules 3 times a day. You can mix them up between the collagen peptides and the glucogel and help regrow cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between your vertebrae. That'll all regrow. And so let's start there. None of the bad stuff, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, brown, rye, no oats, and no sugar. And chime in here every couple of weeks and let how it's going.
Okay.
Because by doing these things, you can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life, and you'll regrow that disc.
All right. And the mold in the gut, you don't think that's
Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten
okay.
alert, gluten alert. The giveaway is you have psoriasis on your leg. Psoriasis is a deficiency of one specific nutrient. It's the first nutrient that people are deficient in when they have a gluten problem because it's a huge nutrient. It's the most difficult to absorb. Okay? And so when you take the 90 essential nutrients appropriately and get rid of the gluten, now you can absorb that. Your psoriasis will go away too.
Okay.
That's the giveaway. And that people
All right.
say, well, I want to talk about my thyroid. Why are you asking me about all this other stuff? Because I want to know what you're eating. I want to know what you're absorbing. I want to know what you're not absorbing. I need to know all this stuff so I can help your thyroid or help your, in your case, your disc and so on. Okay?
All right. Thanks, Dr. Wall.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. Next, we have, with her hand up, Deb G. Deb, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Deb.
So Deb, I just sent you a request to unmute yourself. All you have to do is click yes, unmute. There you go. Go ahead.
Hello, Deb. We better go on and get back to her later.
Yep. Let's move to the next person. Next, we have Damien. Damien, you are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hey,
Hello,
Damien.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
great.
Perfect.
Okay, so Dr. Wallach, I have some mobility issues in regards to stiffness. Went to the doctor. They said the disc in the lower back is, going away.
Mm-hmm.
I also have asthma.
How long you had asthma?
Since I was 15. And
How old are you
I also
now?
I'm 48.
Okay, I'll have it gone in less than 90 days.
Oh, and I also have high blood pressure, and I have some varicose veins.
Okay, I knew that. You know how I knew that?
How?
Because your beard is white. The same
yeah.
deficiency that causes a lack of hair color in your hair and your beard causes varicose veins. The same deficiency causes aneurysms, okay, in your heart and your aorta and arteries in your brain. The same deficiency causes all kinds of problems in your disc and your skin. You get wrinkles. Again, you get varicose veins from those deficiencies. And you remember Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Now, he died at age 51 from a ruptured aortic aneurysm. Now, when he was in his early 20s, he had snow white hair. His skin, a black kid, his skin was as white as typing paper.
Mm-hmm.
He had varicose veins and he had aneurysms. And he was wearing a wig. He wore turtlenecks, okay, up to here, and long sleeve stuff. He wore gloves with jewels on, so all the kids thought that was his costume for his singing, right?
Right.
So we got him. Of course, we never got to work with him because he was going to the best doctors. They're giving him the best cortisone and the best high blood pressure medication and this, that, and the other. And he says, well, you got a bad gene, and that's why you have vitiligo, you're losing your skin color and all that kind of stuff. And he died of a ruptured aortic aneurysm at 51. Now, if he'd have come to me, he'd still be alive.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now what do you weigh now?
199.
Okay, and you say you have high blood pressure. Okay, 5'11". Okay, 199. You have high blood pressure, diabetes. What else you got?
Asthma.
Asthma, varicose veins.
And the varicose veins. Yeah, and And that's basically it.
Or you have any skin problems?
I have allergies and I do have skin problems, yes.
Like what skin problems? You got eczema, dry skin, dermatitis, psoriasis?
Eczema when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that goes along with the asthma. The same deficiency that causes asthma causes eczema, okay?
Okay.
So here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
199 pounds, okay? I want you to give up all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, and oats, okay? I want you to take a picture of yourself with your white beard and everything, okay, today. Make sure you get a current picture and save it, because in 90 days, I want you to take another picture and compare them, okay? Okay. Then none of the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils of any kind, no gluten, no extra virgin olive oil. I mean, there are no such things as gluten-free oats, which people will tell you there's gluten-free oats. No. Oats, no oatmeal, no Cheerios, okay? None of that kind of stuff. If you're going to drink beers, it's got to be either Japanese or Chinese, because they're made from rice as opposed to wheat, butter, and oats, okay? Then I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. The big hammer in our toolbox, 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. A full dose of everything twice a day. Then I want you to take our MSM, take 3 of those 3 times a day. That's 2 bottles a month, so you can take 3 with each meal. That's to help rebuild disc between your vertebrae, cartilage, skin, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, cartilage, all that kind of stuff, arteries, veins that all regrow. And then I also want you to take the collagen and our Collagen Plus, okay? You can go ahead and take 3 doses a day of that. I take 2 doses of the glucogel and 1 dose of the Collagen Plus a day myself, and I only weigh 142. Then I want you to take vitamin D3. I want you to take 3 of those twice a day. Okay. And don't cherry pick. When you get these 2 healthy brain and heart packs, take a full dose of everything twice a day. Don't say, oh my gosh, there's so many things in here. I'll just take 1 a day and it'll last me a year. Don't do that. You want to take a full dose of everything twice a day, okay, to get the result. The varicose veins go away, the asthma goes away, the skin problems goes away, your hair color will come back, even your skin will get darker, okay, which is cool. Okay, so keep in touch with us, but get rid of the bad foods so you can maximize absorption. If you want to, you can get a hair analysis, get that book. Rare Earths Been Cures, chapter 10 and 11 tells you how to collect the hair, how to package it, where to ship it to. And are you coloring your hair, or is that your natural color?
No, this is my natural color.
Okay, so it's just your beard that's kind of turning white.
And there's some gray here.
Yeah.
On the side,
Yeah. Okay, well, that'll all go away.
So you said 2 healthy brain and heart packs.
Brain and heart packs.
Brain,
yeah.
And
Now, you also have diabetes and high blood pressure, right?
Pressure and allergies, asthma.
Do you have diabetes?
No,
okay, so you have high blood pressure. Okay, so I also want you to take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. I want you to take 3 of those 3 times a day. It'll be 3 bottles a month. And they will support healthy blood pressure and healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in your brain, your eyes, your lungs, your heart, your kidneys. And so you're going to avoid a lot of problems. It wouldn't hurt for you to go, go by a drugstore without a prescription, get some test strips for your urine and test your urine and see what's going on with your kidneys and everything now. And then test them every week for $1.50, a test strip. You can get bottles of 3 or 5 or 10. The test strips for your urine will tell you what's going on. You just hold it up to the bottle and it tells you what's going on. Okay.
And I did forget that my PSA level has been very high. I had to get a biopsy done of my prostate. Do you recommend anything there, or should I just take what you recommend?
No. Well, if you want to do something for your prostate, we have what we call ProstFX. It's herbs and certain supplements, certain vitamins and minerals that are specific for the health and happiness of the prostate. I take 3 of those. They're called ProstFX. I take 3 of the ProstFX twice a day myself. I only weigh 142 pounds. You need to take 3 twice a day. That'll bring that PSA right down. Okay. Oh, I can't hear you.
All right, awesome. Hold on. Try again, Damon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything.
Okay, God bless you, sir. I look forward to hearing from you every couple of weeks. You're going to be a great story. You're going to help a lot of people with your testimony.
Thank you.
God bless.
All right, so Dr. Wallach, we're coming up on the top of the hour, but there's a quick question.
Sure.
You often mention not drinking carbonated drinks,
That's correct.
and this individual is wanting to know more about why.
Okay, well, carbonation neutralizes your stomach acid. Your stomach acid is required to break proteins into amino acids so you can digest them and absorb them. Your stomach acid is required to absorb minerals. You cannot absorb minerals. That's why so many people have to go to the doctor every month to get an iron shot and a B12 shot, because they can't absorb vitamin B12, they can't absorb iron because they're skipping salt because their doctor said don't use salt. And of course, the doctor didn't say, well, make sure, I want you to give up salt, but make sure you're taking iodine so your thyroid's happy. They never say that. Those doctors all need to go to jail for being serial killers because they're killing all these people by telling them something stupid like give up salt. Okay. Salt is a required nutrient in every cell of the body. As a cofactor, either the sodium and or the chloride is cofactors in many of the biochemical reactions in all the cells. And certainly the chief cells in your stomach make stomach acid. The chief cells require salt to make hydrochloric acid. And when people get acid reflux, there is no such thing as acid reflux. When you get acid reflux, it really should be named lack of acid reflux, because acid keeps your stomach sterile so bacteria won't grow in there. When you don't use salt, there's no more stomach acid, so the bacteria all grow. They start fermenting the food and creating gas, and they're the ones that are creating the belching, burping, and bloating and pain, okay? And so somebody needs to go to jail here, okay? And so that's why I came out 30 years ago with the title of my book and my CD, which is in 9 languages, by the way, okay?
That's awesome.
It's called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, because that's the only time a doctor won't lie. And we have a new CD, we have a new CD and a DVD out, a brand new CD and DVD out. This is all the latest stuff from just a couple of weeks ago. This new CD, it's available now, okay? It's called Is Your Doctor Killing You? Is Your Doctor Killing You? And I'm sure that'll be one that's going to wind up in 9 or 10 or 12 or 20 languages, because this is a problem all over the world. And right now I'm just seeing a silhouette here. I don't see your lovely face here.
I'm still here.
There you go.
Still
Now
here.
you're back. Now you're back. Okay. And so, yeah, it's imperative that people salt their food. And of course, in our savor division, our spice division, we have pink Himalayan salt. You know, when all the oceans went away, all the salt and the minerals in the oceans and the Himalayan areas are in the valleys there. So we bought up all those places. So we have a pink Himalayan salt with 84 minerals in it. And then I take that for breakfast in the morning on my rice and my sweet potatoes and my eggs. And then, oh, you went away again. And then I also have a pink Himalayan salt with black pepper ground up in it, which I use in the evening. You're still gone. I don't know where you went.
No, I'm still here.
There you go. But see, I
Just
like
one
to see
quick comment. Yeah, if everybody could not unmute themselves, that would be very helpful, because we do get background noise whenever you unmute yourself. You shouldn't have that option, but just wanted to throw that out there. Go ahead, Dr. Wallach. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, we're good. Okay, and so did you say you had one more question, or?
Yeah, so another quick one. So Gianna currently takes Rev from Longevity and on the 90. She would like to switch from taking the Rev to the ASAP and wants to know if that would be something that you would recommend.
Well, I don't recommend it, but it's just a choice. She can see which one works better for her. I like to use the Rebound. Okay.
For weight loss?
Well, yeah, I can use for energy. Okay. If she wants weight loss, in addition to either one of those, she should also use the what do you call it? The gluten-free diet. Okay, the bars. Okay, the keto bar or the keto meals. 1 or 2 of the meals a day should be a keto meal, and she'll lose a ½ pound to 2 pounds a day. Okay, just by using 2 of the 3 meals a day, a keto meal, either the bar or the shake. And if she wants to add Rev to it, that's fine. But she don't forget the 90 essential nutrients. And if somebody's overweight, I'd go with 1 healthy brain and heart pack per 100 pounds of body weight. Because when you're overweight, you got other issues. You got diabetes, you got high blood pressure, you got arthritis, you got osteoporosis, you got liver problems, you know, you got brain problems, you got thyroid problems. And so you need more stuff to deal with that. but it'll all go away. It's not genetic.
I'm thankful for that. Very thankful. Well, we
Okay.
are at the top of the hour. So
Well,
Dr. Wallach,
let me say
Go
one
ahead.
thing before I run away here. I do have where people can they can get a hold of my books and my CDs and DVDs at drjwallach.com. That's www.drjwallach.com, all lowercase. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Let's take a break. Well, again, we just want to thank everybody for joining us today with the Ask Doc Live show. We are here to be of a service to you. So take 5 minutes. And I do want to mention that for those of you who are new to trying the products, you can always go to AskDocLive.com. We do have a store there, and you can search for the items that Dr. Wallach has been recommending. And you can also use that if you're an existing customer and you know what your customer number is. You can use that as well for check it out. And I apologize, we have people that are coming unmuted. But anyways, we have a call team that's available for those that are new and want to ask a few questions before ordering product. That call team number is 855-949-7234. Please remember that they're not medical professionals. So if it comes to diagnosing, all they're going to be able to do is provide what Dr. Wallach has a protocol for the conditions that you mentioned. So let's take 5 minutes. We'll be right back. And
Yes, ma'am.
all right, let's get back at this. We still have several hands raised. I still have several questions that have come in. And again, we've got somebody that's on the phone that's unmuted themselves. I know it's a little difficult to ask questions when you're on the phone, but I will remember that number and we'll come to you in a moment. So Dr. Wallach, let's go to one more hand that's up right now.
Okay.
And I want to ask Robert Swanson to unmute himself, as we are here with Dr. Wallach in the Ask Doc Live program. Robert, what questions do you have for Dr. Wallach today?
Hi, I'm concerned about consuming gelatin. I'm wondering if it's related to prions and why so many people are dying of insanity in Europe.
Well, insanity is due to nutritional deficiencies. It can also be due to toxins, but usually it's nutritional deficiencies, especially when you have whole countries involved. Okay, nutritional deficiencies. Everybody's just eating well and not supplementing. For instance, I know you're deficient. You have multiple deficiencies because you have gray hair. Okay, I can tell that from here. Okay.
Blonde hair.
Oh, it's blonde. You don't have any gray hair in there.
Well,
I don't believe you. I see it in the back and the sides. Yeah. Okay. So what was the first part of the question again? I got the crazy stuff, but what was the other part of the question in the beginning?
well, I wanted to know if gelatin is healthy to eat, given there might be prions.
Okay. Yeah. No, gelatin's very healthy to eat. Okay. There's nothing wrong with gelatin. It's like everything else. It's a form of it's a kind of a protein that is required to maintain tendons and ligaments and skin and artery walls. You can't do without it. My first product I had 50 years ago, I had what was called the pig arthritis formula, and it contained gelatin because I didn't have access to beef skin collagen. I didn't have access to fish and poultry and sheep and beef collagens and that kind of stuff, and so, which I do now. And so 50 years ago, I would just use Knox gelatin because that's all I had when I started. But it's very limited, but it does have some carbon chains in there that are useful in helping to build skin, tendons, and ligaments. But again, you need the other 89 nutrients. That alone not going to cut it. As far as, you know, maintaining skin and artery walls and tendons and ligaments and cartilage and disc between the vertebrae and bone matrix, all that kind of stuff requires those kinds of collagen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking some bone broth as well. So I'll order the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and get on that.
Okay, yeah. And of course, bone broth is classic. That goes back. That's why the slaves lived to be 100 in the United States and the plantation owners died at 45. Because the slaves would simmer the bones on top of their stove and they would fight in the morning over who's going to get to drink the bone broth because they're getting the collagen and the minerals and stuff like that. And then somebody would get to eat the rubbery bone that was left, kind of thing. And the slaves would eat the pig's feet and the chicken feet, and they would eat the liver, which had all the trace minerals stored in it. And the plantation owners would have the ribs, and they would eat the rib steak and the rib meat and so forth, kind of like, I am royalty. I would just eat meat. I am going to eat meat. And they would give all the other stuff to the slaves, thinking it was the lower class stuff, but that's where all the nutrition's at, and all the other stuff, the skin and the tendons and ligaments and cartilage and the bones and the liver. And so they did a study in 1835, and they found out there was like 50 times more 100-year-old slaves than there was 100-year-old plantation owners. And those old names they used to give people like Uncle Tom and Uncle Remus and Aunt Jemima, those were affectionate terms. When your cook has been cooking for 3 or 4 generations of your family and she's 120 years old, you're gonna be respectful to her, right? Same way with the slave who is running the plantation. He's 115 years old, and 3 generations of plantation owners have come and gone because they weren't eating everything and getting all the nutrition, and the slaves are putting the wood ashes in their gardens, not in the gardens for the plantation owner. So they're getting all the nutrition, and so that's why they live so long and could do heavy physical work and all that kind of stuff. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. Appreciate all you do.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, so Dr. Wallach, next, I have a comment here. It says, I'm a 48-year-old female, 100 pounds, 5 foot tall. I have been having stinging stomach pains all over the abdomen. Let's see, where'd it go? Okay, stomach pain all over the lower, middle, and upper stomach, and it changes places constantly. It also is in the pelvis. I refuse to do the painful, scary biopsies and that'll involve a lot of pain or the general anesthesia.
Well, very smart girl, but when you have all this burning, stinging stuff that moves around, that says intestines, okay? So she's got a gluten problem.
Well,
okay.
she does mention here, Dr. Wallach, that she did have 6 weeks of menstrual bleeding for the first time, a month before the stomach pain started.
Okay, now let's stop there. Yeah, well, let's stop there. I'm going to say 2 things. Number 1, how many nutrients does your bone marrow need to make platelets and red blood cells? 90. Okay, if you don't have enough platelets and red blood cells, you're going to have bleeding everywhere. Excess bleeding when you have your periods, you're going to have bleeding when you nick yourself shaving, you brush your teeth, you have bleeding gums, because you're not able to make the platelets and the red blood cells and everything you need to deal with that type of bleeding. So that's oftentimes the case, especially when she's complaining about this intestinal stuff. That's a gluten issue. Okay, and so she needs to get rid of all the gluten. No fried foods, no processed meats of any kind, no gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats, no oils, and no sugar. And then at 105 pounds or 90 pounds or whatever it was in that range.
100 pounds, yep.
100 pounds, okay. I'd have her take 1 Healthy Brain and Heart Pack per month. I'd have her get another bottle of selenium, so you could take 3 selenium twice a day. It's not selenium. Our selenium has 5 other cofactors added to it. So don't run to Walgreens and get a bottle of selenium. That's not going to cut it, okay. And then she can never go back to gluten. Everybody in the household, she can't be cooking gluten for everybody else and she's not eating it because there'll be cross-contamination in the laundry, the food preparation surfaces, the couches, the rugs, the beds, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So there cannot be any contact with gluten. That's her problem. And wouldn't hurt for her to take the ultimate enzyme. She could take 1 or 2 of those, say 2 to 5 minutes for each meal with a little bit of water. And what else has she got?
So she, of course, she hasn't had any biopsies to see if she has cancer, but they did find a cyst. She's been gluten-free for 6 months and a long-time vegetarian.
Well, there you go. Vegetarians eat a lot of gluten.
And she's had RA for 5 years and a blood clot disorder as well.
Okay, well, she's got problems with her bone marrow because she's not absorbing nutrients, right? That's why she got blood clots. Now, she has RA. I'm assuming that's rheumatoid arthritis.
That's what I'm
Okay.
going to assume as well.
Okay. Now, rheumatoid arthritis is two diseases. One is just plain old bone-to-bone arthritis, mineral deficiencies. Okay. The second part is an infection with a bug called mycoplasma. Okay, it's killable with an antibiotic called minocycline. So she needs to get a 6 weeks prescription from her doctor. I would not go to a rheumatologist or anybody like that because they're going to just milk her insurance policy forever by giving her prednisone and cortisone. Remember, just treating the symptoms as opposed to getting rid of it. Well, to get rid of rheumatoid arthritis, you need to take the minocycline, 6 weeks for somebody that size, and it's a prescription drug, and it'll kill the bug, and then everything we've discussed here will help her get rid of the arthritis.
So everything that she has going on, that could be associated, or is it the vegetarian diet that
It's a
has soft
combination of
foods
both.
for years?
Well, vegetarian diet is limited based on where she lives, what minerals she's getting, right? And then a
Right.
vegetarian diet is usually loaded with grains, wheat, brown, rye, and oats, because otherwise they're hungry, just eating carrots and peppers,
Right.
okay? Okay, and so it's a self-destructive thing.
All
But
right.
don't forget, she also, in addition to the enzymes, the ultimate enzymes, I'd have her take, again, 1 or 2 of those a couple of minutes before each meal. I'd also have her take the MSM to help rebuild the skin and the bones and cartilage and ligaments and tendons and stuff. She also needs vitamin D3, unless she's getting naked for 4 hours a day laying out in the sun, which I don't believe. And so vitamin D3 is stored in body fat, and unless she's eating meat with fat in it, she's not going to get any vitamin D3. Unless she's eating bones and cracking them open and sucking the bone marrow out like the Chinese do, she's not going to get any vitamin D3 that way. She's not getting any vitamin D3 if she's not eating liver. Okay, so she's got to supplement with it, and we have a good one, vitamin D3. She can take 3 of those twice a day.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So let's try to go to Deb G again. Deb, are you able to unmute yourself? You're on with Dr. Wallach. You can go ahead and say hello, and we'll see if your microphone's working.
I don't think she's got it yet.
It's not working yet. All right, so let's go to McQueen. McQueen, you are up next with Dr. Wallach.
Hello?
Nope, another mic that's not working. All right, next let's go to Dennis J. Dennis J. Can you unmute yourself? You're on live with Dr. Wallach.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, go
Hey.
ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm calling on behalf of my dad. He's had a stroke a couple months ago, and now he's in a nursing home. He has vascular dementia, and he's been paralyzed on the right side. He can't move his right arm or his right leg.
Okay, how old is he and how much does he weigh?
He weighs 133 pounds, and he's 83 years old.
Okay, he's got osteoporosis of the skull. And what else? Does he have any diabetes?
No diabetes.
Okay, all right, and he weighs how much?
133 pounds.
133 pounds. Okay, he's getting rid of all the bad foods, which is difficult in the nursing home, but he's got to do it. And I've had people who are able to do it. So you're going to have to control it, because if he has dementia, he may not be able to control it. And so none of the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats with nitrates and nitrites, no oils of any kind, no gluten, no wheat, no butter, and oats. And he needs to be on 133 pounds, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want him on 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. I want him to get another bottle of selenium, so he can take 3 of our selenium at breakfast and 3 at dinner time. I also want him to take a half a dose of everything else in that healthy brain and heart pack at breakfast and a half a dose at dinner time. I also want him to get the MSM. I want him to take 1 bottle a month of our MSM, so he can take 3 twice a day. I want him to take 3 twice a day of our vitamin D3. He can take 3 of those twice a day. I want him also to take our glucogel. I want him to take either the liquid or the capsules, whatever's easier for him, 2 doses a day of our glucogel. Then I want him to take our Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. That's to support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries, since he has vascular dementia. He's got clogged arteries in his brain. I'd have him take 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month. And in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack are things that will help prevent blood clots. And so there's 2 types of strokes. Okay, one is a blood clot type of stroke, and another one is a bleeding type of stroke. And so by doing what we're doing here, we're covering all the bases. So we're covering both the blood clot type of stroke and the bleeding type of stroke, okay?
Okay.
And so, you know, get back to us every couple of weeks or so. His doctors will be pleasantly surprised. But the odds are you guys will have to do it. I've had people do these things, and the doctors and the attendants at the nursing homes refuse to do it. And so they had to go there 3 times a day to do this.
Yeah,
And I told them,
they got him on drugs too. They got him on statins and Platelets and all that.
Yeah, well, the statins have to go. And so they have to say, you know, what do we have to do to reduce those statins by half? You know, and start out by saying, oh, let's cut it in half. Okay, so what do we have to do to cut it in half? Okay, because there's, you know, there's other thinking that says that statin drugs don't solve the problem. They actually cause Alzheimer's disease because they lower cholesterol. Well, cholesterol makes up 71% of your brain weight.
Right.
Without cholesterol, you're going to get Alzheimer's disease. Doctors created Alzheimer's disease. Now, there's 11 different dementias. And so I've given him everything here, with the exception he needs 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks also. He needs the cholesterol. He needs the cholesterol. And to absorb the cholesterol, he's going to have to get rid of those statin drugs.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks, Doc.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right. So again, thank you everybody for joining us on Ask Doc Live. We are brought to you by the AskDocLive.com website, and we are very blessed that Dr. Wallach has taken this time for us. If you have any questions or you want to see the 10 good and bad foods that Dr. Wallach recommends, you can find that at AskDocLive.com. We also have a store that lists all the products that Dr. Wallach is recommending here on this show today. So we invite you to the website, whether you're a new customer or an existing customer, we have checkouts available for you there. And we also do have a call team that is standing by at 855-949-7234. Again, they're there to help guide you on what products that Dr. Wallach would recommend for symptoms, not so much conditions. So, Dr. Wallach, I have an individual that has written in, and he has a 15-year-old daughter. She's 5'5". She's 100 pounds. She's only had 2 monthly cycles this year, once in January, then in August. She is anemic. She has in the past been on iron medications. And this father would like to...
Sure. Now stop there for a minute. Now, we've been working together for a while, and you've heard me talk about this. Now, she's got iron problems. She's only had 2 periods or 3 periods in a year. What do you think's happening here?
Well, she's got a bone marrow issue.
Yeah, which is a gluten problem. She's not absorbing nutrients. So she's not making plenty of red blood cells. She's not absorbing nutrients. How many nutrients does her ovaries require to make estrogen and progesterone and ovulate and all that stuff?
90.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Everybody gonna like.
And so
yeah, we need to get her off the gluten, and we got to get her on the 90.
That's right. And she weighs
100 pounds.
Okay, 100 pounds. So 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month, get an extra bottle of selenium. So she can take 3 of our selenium at breakfast, 3 of our selenium at dinner time, a half a dose of everything else at breakfast, half a dose of everything else at dinner time. I also want her to take the Xerafem, Xera-FEM, Xerafem. She can get 2 bottles of that a month, so she can take 3 twice a day. And that's going to give her ovaries the nutrients she needs to convert cholesterol into estrogen and progesterone. She needs to be eating 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks because she has estrogen and progesterone are 95% by weight cholesterol. She needs the cholesterol. Okay, so she's not absorbing cholesterol, which is a big molecule because she's got damage to her intestines. And then I also want her to have the MSM. I want her to take 3 of those twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month. I want her to take the vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. I want her to take the, let's see here. I want her to take the collagen, the glucogel, either the liquid or the capsules, 2 doses a day. And let's see here. I want her to take the immortalium. That will help her ovaries make the estrogen. That'll make her or help her bone marrow make more red blood cells and that kind of stuff, and help her along with her life cycles. But this is very common, okay, because these kids, they live on, you know, French fries and fried chicken and fried rice, and then they have pancakes for breakfast and spaghetti 3 nights a week at Spaghetti Factory, and they have pizza crust, and they have crackers for snacks and cookies and all that kind of stuff, and they just live on gluten. And so,
Yeah.
and she's not even old enough to drink beer. So once they start drinking beer, then the gluten goes way up because beer is made from gluten. Okay. And so we got to get her off the gluten, and they're going to have to be a detective because it's in everything. And nobody in the household can be on it. So they're going to have to all get off of it. So there's no cross-contamination in the laundry, the food preparation surfaces, and the couches and the rugs, and so on. Dog food, cat food, bird food. Got to read those labels.
Yeah, everything. It's crazy what they put gluten in.
Yeah, now there was actually a
Crazy.
recall just a couple of days ago by the FDA from dog food. Excuse me. It was Sunny Hills, I think, Sunny Hills dog food, and also had to do with Sportsman's dog food. Okay, because it was contaminated with aspergillus mold. It was making aflatoxin, which causes liver disease, including liver cancer. So they recalled all that dog food. Well, guess what was in that dog food was oats, causing all these problems.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think Deb might have had her audio issue fixed. So let's go ahead and go to Deb G again. Deb, can you unmute yourself and say hello?
No,
Nope,
I think we're
still
done
not-
with Deb.
Still not getting anything there.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
not try her anymore today.
Let's go.
3 times is enough.
Yep. So we have in the chat here, Chantel has a daughter. She's experiencing, and she's a mother of 3. She's experiencing burning back pain between her shoulders. She has been receiving chiropractic care who advised that she have an MRI.
Okay, I cannot hear you. There's somebody in the background talking over you.
Let me,
Yeah, mute them all. Okay,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
all right. So she's got this burning pain that's between her shoulders. The chiropractors advised that she has an MRI because she's not been improving much. The MRI did not show any structural damage or any other concerns. Her youngest child is 5 months old, and
Is
the
she
condition
breastfeeding the baby?
started. I do not have that information. Let me
Okay.
see if I can get that from
Okay.
Shantae, but it started after the birth of her last
Okay, I'm
child.
hearing talking in the background, talking over you.
All right, I am not saying that anybody is unmuted and I'm the only one home.
Okay, I'm hearing male voices, okay. All right. So anyway, how much does she weigh, do we know?
We don't have that information.
Okay, we'll go per 100 pounds of body weight. Now, how much nutrition is in a chiropractic adjustment? 0. Okay.
Double up.
So, and this gal, she weighs 100 pounds.
Let's say 100 pounds.
100. Okay, per 100 pounds of body weight. I got to get rid of all the bad foods to maximize absorption, relieve inflammation. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat bran, no sugar. Then I want her to take per 100 pounds of body weight and I want her to err on the side, okay, of overdosing, especially if she's breastfeeding. So I want her to take per 100 pounds of body weight, 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. I want her to take 3 of the MSM twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. I want her to have her take 5 of the glucogel capsules twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. I want her to take 3 of the vitamin D3 capsules twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And then, let's see here. We don't know anything else, but if she's breastfeeding the baby, that'll be plenty as well as for her. but getting rid of the bad stuff is going to maximize absorption here. And having all these kids, and if she's not supplementing, the discs go away, the bones go away, the intestines get damaged. So even if she's supplementing with some of these market supplements with 27 nutrients, then she's not getting any of those because she cannot absorb. Her villi are gone. Okay. And so the baby's not going to be getting much nutrition if she's in this condition. She's breastfeeding. So she's got to get rid of the bad stuff. She's got to take these 90 essential nutrients. And if this baby is, like 5 months old or something like that, she needs the kids' toddy. These are kids to liquid, and put the kids' toddy into the baby formula based on the diet or the dosage information on the label for body weight. Also needs the omega-3s for that baby to go along with the kids' toddy. And that was invented when we were first dealing 35 years ago with cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy. We came up with the kids' toddy. But in April 16th, 2013, a federal agency ruled that there had to be this nutrient put into baby formulas. And as a result, we ended cystic fibrosis, we ended muscular dystrophy, and we ended crib death. Only 2% of the babies that died of crib death were in bed with their mothers when they died. None of them suffocated to death. They all died of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. They're only 2 months old, okay? And they're dying of a heart attack. Well, the pathologist didn't think to look for the heart attack because it's a 2-month-old baby. They just said, well, there's nothing going on here. The mother must have laid on the baby. Okay, that was all nonsense science, okay? So just by putting that one nutrient, based on 1,700 autopsies, Dr. Milan and I went to China in Qishan province. We did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 that died of that heart attack caused by deficiency of a single nutrient. Okay, 35% had cystic fibrosis, 100% had muscular dystrophy, and 200 of them, 200 of the 1,700, under the age of 1 year would have been diagnosed in the United States with crib death. Well, a year and a half later, after that ruling, April 16, 2013, a year and a half later, September 13, 2014, big headlines in the Charlotte Observer, the big newspaper, like New York Times for New York, Charlotte Observer for Charlotte, North Carolina. Big headlines like Third World War. We don't know why, but sudden death syndrome has vanished in North Carolina. Now, 3 months later, the same thing was said in the St. Louis newspaper, St. Louis Post-Dispatch in Missouri. 3 months later, every newspaper in the world came out and said, we don't know why, but the diagnoses of sudden infant death syndrome has dropped dramatically by 85 to 95%. Well, that's because they put that one nutrient through that federal agency, April 16, 2013, forced them to put that nutrient in Enfamil, Similac, and all the other commercial baby formulas. Before that, we've been fighting them for 25 years, and the medical doctor said, no, 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 we object to that because that's a poisonous nutrient. Well, that was nonsense. And out of their ignorance, millions of babies died before April 16, 2013 because they didn't get that nutrient in their Similac and Enfamil and other baby formulas. Millions died, millions around the world. And that's because of doctors' ignorance. Okay, now do you think I had any doctors call me and apologize when we got that ruling and say, okay, Wallach, when you get to our town, let us know, we'll take you out to a steak dinner or something? No. They didn't do that either. But that's, I take great pleasure in that, I was at the vortex, actually the focal point of getting rid of 3 diseases, 2 of which were said to be genetic, cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy. In fact, we gave Jerry Lewis 50 charts of kids that had died, kids that should have died of muscular dystrophy that didn't, because we gave him the program, okay, and healed them and got rid of their muscular dystrophy. He got so excited, he took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation. Before he even turned around and walked out the door, they fired him in 2011 and shut off the telethon in 2015 because they couldn't raise a penny on the telethon without him. So that's why you haven't heard of muscular dystrophy, you haven't heard of cystic fibrosis, and you haven't heard of sudden death syndrome, crib death anymore, because I forced him to put that one nutrient in baby formulas to get rid of all 3 of those diseases.
And I appreciate that as a grandmother.
Yeah,
so
well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, next, let's go to Larissa. Larissa, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on with Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. Hi, Rebecca. Thanks for taking my
Hi.
call. I will be very quick. A question about myself and my dad. My dad is 77 years old, 175 centimeters, or about 5'8", and he weighs 108 kilograms, or 238 pounds. And he has high blood pressure, arrhythmic heartbeat, nail fungus, and frequent urination.
Okay, now, are you in Canada?
No, I'm in the US, but he's in Canada.
Okay, because you're giving me in centimeters and all this kind of stuff. And
I'm Ukrainian.
oh, Ukrainian. All four of my grandparents came from the Ukraine, so I know the Ukraine. Okay, and he weighs 100 and what?
He weighs 238 pounds.
238 pounds, okay. So he's got to get rid of all the bad stuff. He's got osteoporosis of the skull. That's why he has AFib, atrial fibrillation, irregular heartbeat, okay? He could also have degenerative disc disease, but 77 years of age, unless he's been seriously supplementing and avoiding gluten, he's got osteoporosis of the skull. And he may have other issues such as ringing in the ears and dizziness and loss of the sense of smell and taste and all those kind of things. But no gluten, no wheat, no butter, iron, oats, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no sugar. And then I want him to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want him to get 2 bottles a month of our MSM, so he can take 3 with each meal, rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, bone cell, and bone marrow cavities. 3 times a day, every 2 bottles a month of the MSM. I want him to take 3 of the vitamin D3 capsules 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month. Then I want him to take 3 servings of collagen a day, 2 of the glucogel, and 1 of the collagen peptides that'll help him rebuild cartilage and disc and his skull and all that kind of stuff. And you said he had high blood pressure and diabetes?
No diabetes, but borderline, controlling with the diet.
Okay, so pre-diabetic. Okay, so because he's a pre-diabetic, I want him to have 2 bottles a month of our sweeties, so he could take 3 of those twice a day, and within weeks, he won't be a pre-diabetic anymore. And then for the high blood pressure, I want him to take 3 of the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month. That will support healthy blood pressure, but also support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in the brain, the heart, the kidneys. And a lot of time when people get high blood pressure is because the kidneys bringing the dirty blood into the arteries bringing the dirty blood into the kidneys are blocked. And the kidneys will release a hormone called renin, which drives the blood pressure up to try and get more blood into the kidney to filter. So we're kind of covering those bases, and it wouldn't hurt. He can get those test strips for nothing. I shouldn't say it, for $1.50 at a pharmacy, and he can pee on it and tell how his kidneys are working, how they're going himself for $1.50. And so, and then again, don't forget those sweeties. In weeks, he'll stop being a pre-diabetic. That'll add 25 years to his life if you do those things. Okay.
Thank you so
you
much.
Bet.
And a quick question about myself.
Okay.
Relatively healthy, but started having a little bit of a lower back pain, and and I have traditionally had high cholesterol. I have very good good cholesterol and very good ratio, but also high bad cholesterol.
Okay,
and
well, what does high mean? What does high mean? What's your number?
245.
It's too low. I want you to be between 350 and 550. Okay? Cholesterol is your best friend. It is not a bad thing. Don't take any statin drugs. Cholesterol does not cause plaque in your arteries. Cholesterol is not found in plaque in your arteries. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease. Cholesterol makes up 95% of the weight of estrogen and progesterone. In men, cholesterol makes up 95% of the weight of testosterone. Also, cholesterol makes up 71 to 75% of the brain weight. When they came out with statin drugs and told people to give up eggs and other sources of cholesterol 60 years ago, they created Alzheimer's disease. Now, there's dementias for thousands of years. There's no less than 11 to 12 different dementias. So when I treat people for, quote, Alzheimer's disease, unquote, I always treat for all 12. That's why I'm so successful in getting rid of Alzheimer's disease, because I treat for all 12. Okay. And so they go away. I've had people in comas for 8 years in a nursing home. Let's see here. McGregor, I'll remember his first name in a moment. He was said to have Alzheimer's disease, and they treated him with pharmaceuticals for 3 years. He goes into this coma. They put him into a nursing home. Oh, his first name was Ray McGregor from Charlotte, North Carolina. And he goes into this coma. They put him in the nursing home. So he did all this through his G tube 3 times, because he's in a coma for 8 years. So we had to do all this 3 times a day in his G tube. And I'm expecting him to take 90 days or something like that. In 3 days' time, his sister calls me, all screaming and yelling, "Oh God, he's died." I said, "Well, what's happening with Ray?" She says, "Oh, he got up this morning." I said, "It's only been 3 days." "Yeah," she said, "he got up this morning. He thought he was only asleep for 1 day. He didn't realize he was in a coma for 8 years. So he shaves, gets dressed, goes back to work. He was an officer in a bank, and none of the people there at the bank were there 8 years ago when he went into his coma. And so they thought he was just a clever crook saying he was a bank officer so he could rob the bank. So they called the cops and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. But yeah, we do this all the time. Goes away.
All right, wonderful. And can I ask about the olive oil? Because I know that you recommend no oils at all. And I know
That's correct.
I know that they have like ancient history that they are saying that Romans and I don't know, Cleopatra, everybody were using olive oil for different health reasons. Why no olive oil?
Well, because olive oil turns into trans fats, heterocyclamines, and acrylamides. Now you have to appreciate when these famous people got olive oil back in those days, they would pull an olive off the tree and squeeze the olive and drink the oil. That's fine. But when you put that oil, after it's been squeezed, into a bottle or a can, it's in that bottle or can for 3 months or 6 months or a year in the warehouse, in the shelf, it oxidizes and turns into the worst possible chemical for your arteries. And it's the oxidized oils, olive oil, coconut oil, MCT oils, soy oils, peanut oil, every oil you can think of, oxidizes and turns into trans fats, heterocyclamines, acrylamides, which causes cancer, plaque in your arteries, and blood clots. So if you have an olive tree and you pull the olive off the tree and eat it, that's fine. But I guarantee you, Cleopatra was not eating your old olive oil.
I'm pretty sure. And another question, is it possible to overdose? For example, I would like to take your supplements. I ordered, but if I...
You cannot afford to overdose because you'd have to take 15, 20, 30 different doses to overdose. So, follow the instructions. There's no reason to do more than the recommended daily allowance. If you're getting rid of the bad foods so you can absorb because you want those villi to regrow so you can maximize your absorption. That's the critical question. What percentage are there from the villi? Remember, if you're a 3-year-old and you've been eating gluten for 3 years, you've lost about 0.5% of your absorptive surface. When you're a 63-year-old, you've been on gluten for 60 years, you've lost 50 to 75% of your absorptive surface. When you're a 73-year-old, you've been eating gluten for 70 years, and you've lost 75 to 85% of your absorptive surface. And when you're 80-some years old, you've been eating gluten for 80 plus years, your villi are all gone, your intestines are smooth like the inside of a garden hose, you can't absorb anything. That's why you have to go to the doctors every month to get a B12 shot and an iron shot and a transfusion once every couple of months so you can get some platelets because you have low platelets and low white blood cells, you're anemic and all this stuff because your intestines are dead because you've been eating gluten for 80 years. Got it?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're back.
Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me. My connection is really fading out.
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you and see you now.
Okay, so Ruth Ellen, if you could read what I just mentioned to you, please. Nope. No, so Ross.
Oh, I got it. Go ahead.
Actually, let's go to Paulo. Paulo has digestive issues. His whole life ended up in the hospital with diverticulitis. Also at the beginning of osteoporosis, vertigo, and losing his vision.
How old is he?
123 pounds, 5'8", and 50 years old.
Okay, he's got serious osteoporosis of the skull because he has a raging gluten problem. Diverticulitis is one of the symptoms of gluten, okay, because it's the transverse colon, those little pea-sized bulbs that attach into the colon, right? Diverticulitis. And so his absorptive surface in his small intestine is gone already. He's only 50-something years old, but he's been a raging gluten eater. He's been eating gluten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and drinking beer, and all that kind of stuff. I can tell by all the things that he's got, okay? His bone marrow's dead. He's losing his vision because his skull is squeezing the optic nerves. The optic nerves form in the brain, go through the skull to the back of the eye. And when your skull gets big, it used to be called Paget's disease. When you get osteoporosis of the skull, a normal human skull is 1/4 of an inch thick when everything's ideal. But when you have osteoporosis of the skull, your skull can get an inch, inch and a half thick. Well, those tunnels that those 12 pairs of cranial nerves and your spinal cord go through get filled up with this collagen called bone matrix, and it squeezes them. We get ONA, optic nerve atrophy. And I actually had a bet, you know, with a eye surgeon who called me a liar. I was giving a lecture up in Salt Lake City, and at the end, the first question was, my mother's in her 70s and she's been legally blind 6 years. Anything you do for her? She's got macular degeneration. Yeah, I can reverse that. Guy jumps up in the room and says, Wallach, you're a liar. No, it was worse. He says, you're a GD liar. I said, okay, well, who are you? He says, well, I'm an eye surgeon. I diagnose this all the time. There's no way you can reverse that. Once you're blind, you're blind. I said, no, sir, that's not true. Let's have a wager. He says, you're on. I said, bring me 12 of your patients' charts and let me go over them. And I'll give you a program for them. And I want to talk to each one of them because I won't guarantee that you're going to tell him what I'm going to tell them, what I'm going to tell you. So I want to talk to each one myself. And this wager, if I win, I can get them all to see, okay, if I could get, say, 50%, would that make you, if you get one, I said, okay, if I can get 1 to 50% of these 12 people who are going to bring me their charts, you won't argue with the diagnosis because you're the one diagnosing them, right? Yeah, okay. I want you to apologize in public by making me a CD. I want you to get me a very expensive bottle of red wine. I'll give you the name of the red wine from France. I want you to take me out to Ruth Chris's Steakhouse and let me have whatever dinner I want. And then you're going to pay for all the supplements for all these people. He says, you're on. So the next day he brings me 27 charts and says, pick your 12. I said, well, can we do them all? He said, well, yeah, let's do them all. Well, make a long story short, in 90 days, 25 of the 27 could read 20/20 without glasses. Now, they were all legally blind 6, 8, 10 years. He picked them, okay? And it took 2 weeks for the other 2 to be able to read 20/20. So he satisfied he paid for all their supplements. He made the CD, Seeing is Believing, to apologize publicly. He also paid for my Ruth Chris's Steakhouse dinner and gave me that bottle of red wine. So come on, doctors. If anybody doesn't want to believe me, I'll do a wager with you too. Are you there? I cannot
Hi,
hear
Dr.
you.
Wallach. It's
Okay,
Ruth
there.
Ellen. Becca's signal is bad, so she asked me to review the next question.
Okay.
And there's a 17-year-old female. She's 5'5", 125 pounds. The doctors want to remove her tonsils because of many infections.
Mm-hmm.
Everything smells bad. Tonsils have many holes and food gets stuck in them. What are the recommendations for this? And this is from Ross.
Okay. This gal weighs
25 pounds.
125 pounds.
17 years old and
17
she's
years.
5'5".
5'5". Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. And so then, any other issues here? Does she have skin issues? Does she have asthma, bowel problems?
Nothing else was listed in the request for information. Sorry.
Okay, so her only concern is,
The doctors want to remove her tonsils. They have many holes in them and the food gets stuck in there and it says everything smells bad and she keeps getting infections.
okay, well, that's where she needs to gargle with a mouthwash. Okay, so anyway, yeah, she's got a gluten problem. She's got to get rid of all the gluten. No, we brought around oats. Take 1 Healthy Brain and Heart pack per month. Get another bottle of selenium. Take 3 selenium twice a day. A half a dose of everything else twice a day. I want her to take the ultimate enzyme so she can take 2 before each meal with a couple ounces of water before each meal. It'll be a couple of bottles a month of our ultimate enzymes. I want her to take the MSM. She can take 3 of those twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month. Vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. I want her to take 2 servings of the glucogel. That'll be 3 to 5 capsules twice a day. Either the capsules or 2 servings a day of the liquid. All right. And she didn't say anything about her cycles, but I'm assuming that somebody like that, she's going to have trouble with her cycles and that kind of stuff. And so it wouldn't hurt for her to have the Xera Fem, XERA-FEM, Xera Fem. She could take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. It'll help her ovaries do the girly thing for somebody who's just gone through puberty, 15, 17 years old kind of thing. And and her skin will be improved. Everything will be improved, and her tonsils will tone up because we're giving her liver what it needs to support her immune system and so forth. But getting rid of gluten is the real crucial problem here. And I guarantee you, she's eating gluten all 3 meals. She's eating gluten for snacks. And so, when you send her this message, say, please let us know if you're eating gluten, wheat, bran, rye, oats for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, where are you getting your gluten? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. I was going to go to Nancy, who has her hand up, and it looks like she has stepped away. I think here she is. All right, Nancy, I'm going to send you a request to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
I just had a couple things. Last spring, I fell and I got a mild concussion, and I hurt my foot and broke 3 of the smaller toes, and I'm still having trouble with that, with swelling and some pain. And then the other thing was I've seemed to have ongoing issues with skin cancer, such as melanoma, basal cell, squamous cell, and actinic keratosis.
Okay. And how much do you weigh?
I weigh 118.
Do you have any blood pressure issues or diabetes?
No.
Do you have any digestive problems?
Nope.
Did you have asthma as a
Nothing.
kid?
Nope.
Okay. Any thyroid problems?
Nope.
Okay. So at 135 pounds?
No, 118.
118. Okay. So what I want you to do is get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, bran, rye, oats. Absorption is going to be everything here. None of the bad foods. This will be forever. You can't go back to them 3 months later when you feel better, okay? Gotta stay away from ever. The bad foods. Fried foods, processed meats, oils, and glutens, and sugar. Then, at 118 pounds, I want you to take 1 Healthy Brain and Heart pack per month. I want you to get another bottle of selenium, because 1 bottle of selenium comes with it, so you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner time with the selenium, a half a dose of everything else twice a day. I want you to also get the MSM. Take 3 of those twice a day as 1 bottle a month. That's going to help support maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, everything in your skin and arteries and veins and so forth, tonsils, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then I want you to also have them take, well, they don't have any blood issues or anything like that. Okay, so the collagen, vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day, 2 bottles a month, and 2 servings of the collagen a day. Okay, either the collagen peptides, if they want 5 different sources, or the glucogel, which is 1 source, beef. Okay?
Okay, thank you. I do take Protandim, and I also take vitamin D3 and folic acid and vitamin C.
Okay.
So
well,
be
folic acid. Yeah, you can continue taking the folic acid, which I'm assuming you had some anemia or something like that. Same way with the vitamin C is good not only for your immune system, but vitamin C is also required for a bone rebuilding. Most people don't realize that, but when you have scurvy, you have vitamin C deficiency. You not only die of scurvy, where your immune system is all screwed up, your liver is not happy because you don't have enough vitamin C, and so you die of all kinds of infections and that kind of stuff. But also scurvy causes a breakdown of your bone marrow, because vitamin C is required to make bone. You need 90 essential nutrients, including vitamin C, to make bone. So it's not just for scurvy; it's for many other things.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. And then for Shante, her question is, if someone starts experiencing nosebleeds out of the blue, has never experienced them before in their lifetime of 59 years, has had 10 in the last 3 weeks. She's a female, 170 pounds. She's 5'4", has been on the Healthy Body Start Pack for 8 years.
Okay, well, when people have nosebleeds or bleeding anywhere, or, 16 periods a month, or, they have bleeding in their bowels and stuff like that, almost always this is a bone marrow problem, which is due to osteoporosis of the skeletal system. And so she'd be one that the doctors say, okay, you're going to be anemic here. Come on in, once a week. I'll give you an iron shot and a B12 shot, and we'll give you a transfusion once a month here to get some platelets in you. That's because her bone marrow's dead. She's been eating gluten all her life. She's got to give up the gluten. And just because she's taking our supplements for 8 years, if she hadn't been doing that, all this bleeding would have started 8 years ago. Okay, well, now she's probably 95 to 98% dead in her bone marrow. And so even supplementing is not going to help her here. So she's got to immediately go through the household and get rid of all the gluten. Everybody in the household that eats gluten and won't give it up has to be kicked out. She cannot work in a bakery. She cannot work in a restaurant, that kind of stuff, okay? This is something very, very, this is a classic endpoint gluten issue because she can't make platelets and red blood cells and white blood cells. And what's going to happen here, if she gets COVID, she's going to have very dramatic complications, maybe even die from COVID, because she's got serious red warning lights here. And so they got to be dealt with like immediately.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Wallach. I think that we have two more people with their hands up.
Yeah, we got time for 2 more.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna go to Martin Adlet. I've sent you a request. There you go.
Hi, Doc. I think you're the greatest.
Oh, you're very, very nice. How can we help you, sir?
It's a general question. I'm
Okay.
getting older, as you can tell, and they're doing bone density studies. And so many doctors are giving shots, various type of shots. And I'm wondering, that's not the right thing to do. You have a better solution, but why are so many doctors just giving shots? Some of the times they have very serious side effects, and then they're in your body for 6 months or a year. I just don't understand it.
Okay, well, you ask a very pertinent question here. Now, the reason why doctors give injections, because the injections do not solve the problem. The injections just reduce the symptoms, which make most patients happy. Well, the disease continues to go on, okay? And so doctors are using the patient as a milking cow. They're milking the patient's insurance policy by having you come in once a month, once every couple of months for transfusions to get platelets. They give you an iron shot and a B12 shot, okay, because you're anemic. You need to get off of gluten when those things are happening, get on the 90 essential nutrients, and it all goes away. Now, again, I don't know if you were on early in the show 2 hours ago, but one of the things we brought up 2 hours ago for our listeners is that the Lancet, this British medical journal, came out just a week ago and said that all the medical schools on earth have failed the medical students and the patients and the people on earth because they're teaching, and I'm quoting them now, this is the Lancet, the British medical journal Lancet, they're teaching the medical students to be pill pushers, is the words they used, as opposed to treating and curing the disease. Well, that's because the pharmaceutical companies say, well, pay your tuition if you have, written so many prescriptions of our drugs. We'll pay you back for your tuition. And they're using the doctors as a milking machine, and they're using the patients as a milking machine. And that's why they do that. Anytime they're giving them a drug that reduces the symptoms instead of getting rid of the problem, they should be put in jail, okay, as a serial killer. Because the third leading cause of death, according to Johns Hopkins, in hospitals each year is medical errors. Now, that's Johns Hopkins, not me, published. They say a 7-year study. Each year, medical doctors in hospitals, by simple medical errors, kill, is the word they use, kill 251,000 to 440,000 patients. Now you tell me how many businesses could stay in business in America if they kill 251,000 to 440,000 of their customers in a workplace every year?
Zero.
Zero, because when a business kills 3 people in a year, they go out of business. Well, here's one trade, one profession does it every year, published in their medical journals, and the doctors aren't lined up to say, well, how do I save my patients? They're not going to change. So it's the patients who have to change. So I appreciate you bringing up the question.
So in addition to the 90 essential and the glucogel, anything else I should add in there?
Well, you have to appreciate we have secret sauces for 900 different diseases. Diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, liver disease, dementias. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so depending on, and this is where I'm going to throw in a little advertisement for the quartet of books here. Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, Passport for Therapy, and it's all in your head. Those 4 books will teach you what secret sauces to use for 900 different diseases. It'll teach you in the book Let's Play Doctor how to do your own physicals for $1.50. Test strips only cost you $1.50 for a urine test, tells you about your prostate, your kidneys, and so on. You can do your own blood pressure. You can take your own temperature. You can weigh yourself, that kind of stuff. You can do a hair analysis. Get the book Rarest Men Cures, do a hair analysis and find out if you have toxic metals in you and find out if you're absorbing, because all those bars for each nutrient are below the bottom line. That means you're not absorbing. That's worth a hair analysis once a year to see if you're absorbing, if anything's interrupted that.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you, bye.
All right, Dr. Wallach, we are coming at the top of the hour again. I can't believe 2 hours have passed by. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and giving us the ability to empower ourselves to regain our health. So I thank you so much. I thank everybody that has joined us today. I apologize that we weren't able to get to everybody's questions, but you can respond to your invitation that you received for this call, and we will get those questions answered for you. So again, on behalf of myself and Jonty and Ruth Ellen, thank you, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you so much. God bless you. Great job as usual. And I look forward to next week. And this is a beautiful thing you do, and I appreciate it. God bless you. Rebecca, you're an angel of God. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. We appreciate you, and God bless you as well for at least 50 more years.
No, we got more than that.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you so much for joining us today.